When the Oakridge Wildlife Park announced earlier this week that it would be rehoming its long-standing colony of fruit bats, the statement was brief but emotional. After months of deliberation, expert consultation, and internal evaluation, the zoo has made the difficult decision to relocate our bat colony to ensure their long-term welfare and to support ongoing conservation needs. What began as a quiet internal review quickly transformed into a heartfelt debate involving keepers, conservation specialists, and members of the local community. For nearly 18 years, the bat colony, mostly Egyptian fruit bats and Rodriguez flying foxes, has been one of the park's most distinct features. The dark, cavern-like habitat, lit only by subtle red lamps mimicking twilight skies, had become a beloved area for visitors who were fascinated by the mammals' silent gliding and playful grooming rituals. But behind the scenes, staff say, the colony had begun to outgrow the facility built for them almost 2 decades ago. Now the zoo is navigating the emotional, logistical, and ethical complexity of rehoming nearly 150 bats while assuring the public that the colony's welfare remains the top priority. A decision years in the making. Although the zoo's announcement may have surprised casual visitors, several keepers say the question of expansion or relocation has been on internal agendas for years. As conservation knowledge and industry standards evolved, so did expectations about space, enrichment, and environmental complexity for large bat colonies. When they first arrived, we had a group of just 40, explained senior keeper Maya Harrington, who has worked at Oakridge for 11 years. Back then, the exhibit was more than adequate. Over time, because our bats have been incredibly healthy and breeding successfully, the colony grew, first into the 70s, then over 100. Now we're close to 150. At this size, they need more vertical space, better flight distance, and more roost options than our building can safely offer. Zoo Director Dr. Alan Price echoed her concerns. Bats are highly social, intelligent animals, Price said. Large colonies require sophisticated environmental controls, humidity, heat stability, air circulation systems, and varied roosting zones. Our climate systems are nearing their operational limits. Rather than retrofit a decades-old structure in a way that still wouldn't meet future needs, we made the call to find a facility designed for colonies this large. He added that the decision was painstaking, and that no staff member took it lightly. Why bats matter, and why rehoming them is complex. Bats often occupy a strange position in public imagination, essential to ecosystems yet misunderstood, even feared. For zoos and conservation groups, they represent a valuable educational opportunity. They're pollinators, seed dispersers, insect controllers. Without bats, ecosystems collapse, said wildlife ecologist Drive. Lauren Chen, who consults with zoos across Asia and Europe. But caring for them in captivity is delicate because they rely heavily on flight space, controlled temperatures, and stress-minimized social environments. Rehoming a dog or even a large cat involves individualized transfer plans. Rehoming a colony of 150 bats, most of whom rely on collective security and group identity, is far more challenging. Splitting them into smaller groups may sound easy, but it can cause hierarchy stress, reproductive disruption, and even health declines, Chen explained. Ideally, a colony this bonded should be moved together or in a few very carefully coordinated clusters. This complexity is partly why the decision at Oakridge took months of planning. The new home, a state-of-the-art bat sanctuary. The colony will be relocated to the Sanctuary for Nocturnal Species, SNS, a specialized conservation center known for its expansive aviary-scale bat habitats. SNS features advanced environmental controls, naturalistic flight tunnels, and dedicated breeding spaces designed specifically for large fruit bat populations. SNS Director Hector Morales confirmed the collaboration. Taking on a colony of this size is no small task, Morales said. But our facility was built for exactly this purpose. We have spaces that replicate tropical forest canopies with varying heights and microclimates. These bats will have more freedom of movement, more roost diversity, and enhanced diet programs tailored to large social groups. Transporting the bats will require 3 phases, each coordinated with specialized veterinarians. The process will involve pre-transfer health checks, controlled sedation where necessary, light managed transport crates to prevent stress, temperature and humidity regulated vehicles, reintroduction protocols upon arrival. The entire relocation is expected to take 2 weeks. Local reaction, sadness, support, and questions. As soon as the announcement was posted to Oakridge's social media pages, hundreds of comments poured in. Many expressed understanding. "I'll miss them, but it's the right thing," wrote one longtime visitor. "Those bats deserve the best space possible." Others were more emotional. "My kids grew up visiting those bats," said another commenter. "It feels like losing old friends." A few questioned the timing or the need to rehome them at all. Some argued the zoo should have invested in expanding the bat house rather than relocating the colony. Dr. Price addressed the concerns directly. "We did not choose between remodeling and rehoming lightly," he said. "The cost of upgrading the building to meet future environmental stability standards, plus adding the required flight space, would have been prohibitive and potentially disruptive to the animals. The sanctuary already offers a perfect environment. Right now, not in 3 years." Several local conservation groups have also supported the zoo's choice, stating that prioritizing animal welfare over visitor appeal is a sign of ethical leadership. A look back at a beloved exhibit. To understand why this decision has stirred strong emotions, one must look at Oakridge's bat colony history. The bats arrived in 2007 as part of a rescue and rehoming partnership with an endangered species breeding program. Many came from facilities damaged by hurricanes in the Indian Ocean region. Others were born at Oakridge in the years that followed. The early years of the exhibit became unexpectedly popular. School groups flocked to the darkened viewing tunnel where the bats swooped overhead. Keepers recall countless moments of transformation. Children arriving scared but leaving fascinated. Adults discovering the unique behaviors of flying mammals that rarely get positive attention in the media. At one point, the colony's nightly feeding demonstrations were among the most attended programs in the park. Some visitors even began referring to the bats by affectionate nicknames like the Midnight Crew and Sky Puppies. For keepers, the bats became more than animals. They became co-workers, companions, and daily responsibilities that shaped the team's routines and relationships. Senior keeper Maya Harrington admitted the emotional impact openly. "It feels like sending your kids to college," she said with a bittersweet smile. "You know it's the right step. You know they'll thrive, but it still hurts." Behind the scenes, the practical pressures. Aside from space limitations, Oakridge has been navigating other operational concerns. Aging infrastructure. The climate regulation system, installed 18 years ago, began requiring frequent repairs. Even minor fluctuations in humidity can affect bat wings, hydration, and respiratory comfort. Leadership pressure to upgrade other exhibits. The zoo planned several new projects, including a river otter conservation center and a revamped amphibian house. These upgrades meant financial and spatial resources were thin. Global species management. International bat breeding programs have shifted toward centralized sanctuaries rather than individual zoo collections. Oakridge's colony, being large and genetically diverse, was viewed as better placed in such a facility. Public perception and policy. Zoos worldwide are increasingly expected to justify each species they house based on both welfare and conservation impact. While Oakridge's bats were loved, their space no longer met the modern standards for Megachiropteran care. All these factors created pressure not only to make a decision, but to make one soon. What happens next? The rehoming process begins next month. In preparation, keepers have already begun introducing portable roosting structures, gradually reducing unnecessary human activity near the bat house. running loudspeaker acclamations to simulate transport environments, assessing bat social groupings for low-stress transfer, monitoring nighttime activity to identify individuals that may require extra care. After the colony leaves, the facility will be repurposed temporarily as a holding area for quarantine and medical evaluations of other species. Long-term, the zoo plans to completely renovate the space. Dr. Price carefully avoided confirming whether a new species will take the bat's place, though rumors among staff hint at a future nocturnal-themed ecosystem exhibit. Staff emotions. Professional duty meets personal loss. For many keepers, this event represents a professional challenge and a personal heartbreak. People sometimes assume we're used to goodbyes, said junior keeper Darren Vance, who joined Oakridge 3 years ago. We're not. We bond with these animals. We learn their behaviors, their personalities. We know which bats like to hang high or which ones prefer grooming partners. Losing them feels like losing long-term co-workers. At the same time, keepers emphasize that the decision aligns with the core of their profession, doing what is best for the animals, even when it hurts. Animal welfare comes before our emotions, Harrington said firmly. If the sanctuary gives them better opportunities for health, flight, breeding, and longevity, then this is the right move. No question. The bigger picture. Changing standards in zoo animal care. The bat relocation reflects a larger trend within modern zoological management. As global standards evolve, zoos are increasingly re-evaluating long-standing exhibits through the lens of better science, better technology, better ethics, better conservation outcomes. In the past decade, numerous zoos worldwide have phased out elephant programs due to space limitations, relocated great apes to facilities with larger social grouping capacity, consolidated rare species into coordinated breeding centers, retired aging exhibits not meeting climate control requirements. Bats, though smaller, require specialized care on par with many large mammals. It's a good sign when a zoo is willing to make a decision that doesn't immediately benefit visitor numbers, said ecologist Drive Chen. It means they're prioritizing real conservation goals, not just display value. Visitors prepare for their final farewell. The zoo announced that the bat house will remain open for public visits until 2 days before the first transfer phase. Already, families and longtime fans are planning farewells. Weekend attendance is expected to spike. In the dim, reddish light of the exhibit, visitors have begun lingering longer than usual, watching the bats glide silently from perch to perch. They look so peaceful, whispered a young girl visiting with her mother. I hope their new home is nice. Her mother smiled. I'm sure it will be. For many, these farewell visits mark the end of a chapter in Oakridge's history, one that began with rescue, blossomed with education and fascination, and now concludes with a move toward better long-term care. A difficult decision, but a responsible one. When asked whether he expects backlash, Drive Price didn't hesitate. Some people may be upset. That's natural. But leadership means making decisions based on science and welfare, not popularity. These bats deserve the very best we can give them. If that future isn't here, it's our responsibility to acknowledge that and act. He paused before adding, we owe it to them. The staff may be heartbroken, visitors may be disappointed, and the nocturnal wing of the zoo may feel emptier for a while. But the bats, Oakridge's graceful, misunderstood, midnight flying ambassadors, are headed toward a home where they can spread their wings wider than ever before. And if there is one comforting truth at the center of this emotional transition, it is this. Sometimes the most difficult decisions are the ones that bring the greatest good.